don't have to tell you what Squishmallows are, right? These soft, adorable, effortlessly squeezable toys are everywhere. But what is it about these cute plush toys that make them so insanely popular? Who are the creative minds behind their massive success? Well, to find out, I decided to venture to Los Angeles and visit the toy company behind it all, Jazzwares. And look who was waiting for me when I got there. That's right, I'm hugging a life-size Cam the cat.
Tell me why Squishmallows has become such a phenomenal success.
The beautiful thing about a Squishmallow is, regardless of what it is, character, or whether it represents a thing, or represents something of interest, it's just something that stands for everyone. And I think that every time people see a Squishmallow, they tend to smile, and it's just been a glorious thing to get to work on something like that.
But when did the brand actually start?
2017.
Okay.
And it started much like most brands do. There wasn't the expectation that this was going to be the next big thing. Put it out in a few Walgreens, talked to some social influencers, went through that whole thing. But before the first piece of data dropped from anyone on the social side, it was organically they were blowing through with no notice. I mean, it was not like there was this data out there that let people know that it existed. They would look at the face, they would pick it up off the shelf. I think it's the shape, it's the kindness, it's the character themselves, and there were just people were walking away with it just that day.
What do you think it is about Squishmallows that it just goes across such a wide age range?
Well, so first of all, we did a study because we were trying to figure that out ourselves, right? Why was this thing resonating so remarkably well, and who was it resonating with? And what we found is that there are multiple groups of consumers. There's the preteen, teen group, that tends to go deep into college as well, where people are using it, displaying it, showing it off. It's comfort. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of comfort associated. They're lovely, fun, vibrant characters, right? And it was a dual gender thing, which was also really cool, because frankly speaking, I think the further we've gone down the path of feeling comfortable with our fandom, the more vulnerable we've allowed ourselves to be, and show off that maybe it's okay for a dude to have this big, squishy, colorful thing and say, I like it. I've got it in my dorm room. I've got it in my house.
I think everyone realizes it's been a rough few years. When we look at TikTok and Instagram to connect with our fans, we see a lot of people sharing very personal stories about the joy and the comfort and just the fun that Squishmallows brings to them and their family and friends.
I think that's been a real benefit, is the fact that you've got that age group, that it goes older, and that it's been dual gender. I think another group that we've seen are certainly the younger kids, and younger kids tend to do more playing than displaying. So the younger kids are all about play. They're all about enacting some sort of imaginative play. And then older, again, display purposes, generally speaking, they're great display pieces, and they really are. They tend to bring a smile to people's mouths. And frankly speaking, the last few years, what have we needed more than something comforting, something that makes you smile, something that just overall brings joy to multiple generations of people, regardless of background, regardless of gender, regardless of anything.
When you look at social media, you'll see how they collect, some by size, some by color, some by characters. And I think they've created this unique sense of community around their love for Squishmallows. And if you've ever held one, the first thing you want to do is hug it.
I know, I've been feeling this wall of Squishmallows like the whole time that I've been here. This right here, I honestly would be okay if you guys made a mattress of it. I would just lay across Squishmallows.
It's a pretty good idea, actually. No royalties for this guy, okay? We actually had that idea 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So we know now that Squishmallows might be the softest thing on the planet, but who made them so darn cute? Turns out that would be Sonny Cho, the mastermind behind the first iconic design.
I've heard that you're incredibly humble, but this is really all you, right? We have you to thank for these.
A lot of part of it.
She is incredibly humble.
2-3 other designers that helped a lot on designs.
Mm-hmm.
And it was great support for me.
So what was the main inspiration for you for designing the Squishmallows?
It was one day, my previous manager, Jean, came into my office room and she showed me this stretchy, soft feel fabric. And she told me that she wants to do something with that fabric. And she asked me, can you come up with some designs? And she left, and I was so excited to design something with this stretchy fabric. I wanted to design something that has kawaii look and still has some American feel to it.
So what was the very first Squishmallows that you created?
I started sketching some animals, but the first one was a cat.
Was it Cam the cat?
Yes.
Oh, so that he's the very first Squishmallow ever.
Yes.
You said earlier that you have an awesome team, and I believe it's incredible. I mean, just being surrounded by all of these is wild. How many have you personally designed?
We have over 2,000 characters now, but we had 2 to 3 other designers that helped a lot on designs.
Wow. You've done over 1,000 of these?
I think so.
That's crazy. Well, how long is that process from beginning to end?
First I start researching the animal, and I study about the animal. If it's sea life, then like the fins and the tails, how they look. I start sketching by hand, like very roughly, like very quickly, and once I get the idea how I want it to be designed, then I start creating a vector art on Illustrator.
The design processes we use Photoshop, we use Illustrator, software programs to create them. We also use like video conferencing to review samples. So in the old days, maybe they would have to mail the samples from overseas to us, and nowadays they can create a sample, they can send the photographs, we can review those on a video call. And so that's some of the technology is more on the development rather than the actual production.
Now, I am curious about the design process for these characters, because we were talking about this a little bit before the interview, but about how it seems simple, but there's so much that goes into it. So for the design process, like, for example, who's coming up with the names and the biography of the characters? Is it the person that designs the character initially, or does it become a team effort as it goes along?
Yeah, it's a team effort. So we just create the drawings, and once we do that, we work with our brand team and other teams. They'll take the drawing and they work with our copywriters, our technical writers, and they decide what is the story behind it, what is their name gonna be, and they kind of like bring the characters to life. So we do, like, for design, we do from like concept up to production. But there's other teams involved in doing it, and names and bios definitely is another team.
Now, can you talk to me a little bit about the materials that you use to make the Squishmallows? Because I see this fabric right here, and it's very soft.
Yeah, exactly. So we use this basic fabric we use on all our Squishmallows. We developed this with our fabric mills overseas, so it's very soft and stretchy. And the stuffing's the other really important part of Squishmallows. It's this very fine fiber and very high quality, so it gives it that squishy feel, you know, the name Squishmallow, so it better be soft and squishy. And on top of that, we use some accent fabrics, like you can see all around. They can be sparkle, or they can be embossed like that dragon. And so we're always on the lookout for other ideas. Could be furry. And so we're always working with other teams, our product development team, to help source fabrics too.
Yeah, so you've got like this textured fabric for the, is that a dragon? What is that one right there?
That's an armadillo.
That's an armadillo, I was way off. And you've got the woolly mammoth over here, and there's two different kinds. So you've got the velvety fabric, but you've also got the hair, and you've got the belly, and they all look like different fabrics.
And tie-dye fabric is in the ears.
How many fabrics do you go through to find like the perfect fabric for the character?
We have like our core fabrics, and we'll go through very careful dyeing processes to figure out what color goes with what animal. But then it's a lot of fun of like just getting accent fabric sent to us, and we'll decide, oh, what if we use tie-dye in the ears, or what if we use this embossed fabric on that dragon? And so like that fabric there also is tie-dye with embossed and sparkle. But in general, we try and keep it pretty clean and pretty simple.
So you've got variations of the characters, and it's not just colors, but you also have clothing. Like we've got Cam the cat here in a brand new sweatshirt.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about him.
So this is our main character, Cam the cat. He's wearing a hoodie here. And so this will be available only on squishmallows.com, and this will be available in spring of 2023.
Oh, he's so soft.
Yeah,
too.
right?
What was the
And
material
he's got
that
a-
you used for the sweatshirt? Oh, it's removable.
Yeah, so
You
it's a
can take it
removable
down.
hoodie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so this is our classic fabric, but we've added extra details like the hoodie and tassels and more embroidery details. So this is something that
says-
we're going to do just because it's such a limited edition exclusive.
Now, as much fun as I had, my visit to Jazzwares wasn't a complete success. I tried to win a free Squishmallow out of this claw machine and failed miserably. I also wasn't allowed into this top secret room filled with designs and prototypes unseen by public eyes, even though I promised not to tell anyone. But Bob was nice enough to show me more about the many fabrics and colors they use to bring Squishmallows to life.
Are these samples the beginning of the process as far as designing the characters?
No, actually, once we finish the drawing, the overseas team, our factory, will then start sending us these swatches. And this will give us a better idea of what colors to use and how they will combine together. And so we'll have a much better idea of when you see the swatches in person versus seeing it on the screen.
Right.
So we're able to kind of dial in these subtle color combinations, and it becomes a Squishmallow then, a few months later, rather than sampling it over and over again and adjusting.
Now, do these all have the same? They feel very velvety and wonderful to the touch.
Yeah.
Do all of these swatches have that same feel, or are there different fabric?
Exactly.
examples
No,
you guys
this is the actual fabric, and so they'll be dyeing the fabric based on Pantone colors and different details that we give them, and so they'll be making these different colors per our requirements. But this is the real fabric. This is what will be used later.
I mean, I don't want to knock any of these off, but I feel like I could just lean up against these and snowman on them.
Exactly. Yeah, later we can also reference these and inspire new characters that maybe a color that we really love, we can then be inspired to create something new.
Now, after over 2,000 characters, are there any colors that you haven't used yet?
I think we've covered them all. I think we've covered pretty much everything.
So now it's just a matter of combos, right? Just what combo can we put together?
Absolutely. It's down to combinations, yeah.
But now that it's become this just insanely popular collectible, what are some of the more rare Squishmallows that are out there?
Yeah, look, Squishmallows is a collectible. Okay, it's a collectible in that there's a system of collectability where characters are numbered and you know their squish dates and you know a lot about them. What's their type, when they were born, what their name is, what their interests are. But they're not collectibles in the sense that we're going out of our way to say that there's secondary market value. And that's one of the things that makes this so sustainable, because consumers recognize that they're buying it for themselves. They're not buying it to try to establish a college education fund for the next generation. And that's something, unfortunately, those types of premises can get a brand in big trouble. So yeah, for the most part, the items that we sell are truly meant to be hugged, to be beloved members of a family, displayed, played with, seen, whatever it may be. But then we also have something called like the Select series, or we have a direct-to-consumer series where they are more limited in scope and limited in edition. Like there's a silver and a gold, and there's also a black series as well. And these series of Squishmallows potentially have that type of secondary market value because there's scarcity and rarity. But at the end of the day, that's not really what Squishmallows is. Squishmallows, at the end of the day, is something that you're supposed to use. It's something you're supposed to live with, to hug, and to display.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we believe has made this so sustainable. And here we are in the 6th year and going strong, getting bigger than ever before. But yeah, there's also going to be the opportunity for, I would say, higher end, more rare collectibles out there. But that is definitely not the lifeblood of the business.
With these becoming such huge collectibles, and you guys have had over 2,000, are there any Squishmallows that you have retired?
Okay, with so many special editions and squads, you never know when your favorite character is going to reappear.
That's interesting.
That's part of the fun.
Now, what's the process like choosing when to retire a Squishmallow or when not to, though? Or when to bring them back?
It's really a squish world. So we decide what makes sense based on which ways the squish winds are blowing.
This is Jack, okay?
Yes.
Jack was our 500th Squishmallow. That's right, number 500. But Jack also was very limited in scope, okay? We only made 500 Jacks. And it is truly one of the rare and fun Squishmallows that's out there to find and collect. And yes, in that regard, you can see the black label with the 500 on it and Jack's squish date and storyline there.
So speaking on the value of some of these collectibles, the more rare Squishmallows, I had read that there was a Golden Hans Squishmallow that sold for around $15,000. Now, is that the highest price that anyone's paid for a single Squishmallow?
So yes, there were several editions of Hans, of Golden Hans. There was a one of one, and that sold for something like $15,000. That was 100% given to charity. But the one of one Hans was the 100th millionth Squishmallow off the line, to the best of our estimations. In addition, there was this one of 3,000 Golden Hans, which was available for purchase. Yes, you can touch him.
I don't have $15,000, but
oh no, this wasn't $15,000.
Okay,
I believe this was $49.99.
He feels nice.
Yes, what do you expect for $49.99? It feels nice. It should. Right. But no, and look, it was a situation where it was a great opportunity to celebrate Squishmallows, and the 100th million Squishmallow is something that no one would ever imagine in any brand. And since then, of course, we've sold a bunch more.
Right.
So it's hard to say when the next 100 million drop will come, but I'm sure we'll be doing more like that.
Tell me what is special about what's in this box.
Okay, so we did a 1 of 30 Golden Hans, 24-inch, and this was part of the 100th millionth Squishmallow scenario. Okay, so we did 100 million Squishmallow. We did a 1 of 30. We did a 1 of 1 signed Golden Hans that was sold on eBay with 100% of the proceeds to charity. And then we did a 1 of 30. And what's in this box is the 1 of 30 that essentially represents approximately the 100 millionth Squishmallow minus 30. So the 30 leading up to that moment, approximately, because really, truth of the matter is, it's impossible to know entirely, but to the best of our knowledge, these were the 30 leading up, and this is one of those 30. And so these were given away to fans and people who have really demonstrated a great love for Squishmallows, and I'm sure that there was no way truly to capture everyone in the world that should have gotten one, but you do your best to try to solve for that.
And I'm gonna get to unbox it right now with you.
You get to unbox it, and there's only a few.
We get to unbox it.
Listen, I'm not sure I can take that liability.
No, I think
you have insurance.
This is a very elaborate box. I think I probably need help. I don't want to rip anything.
Can we see his insurance, by the way, before we get started?
I think let's do it together.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Oh boy. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
And here it goes. We can sort of let it fall away.
Can I hug it?
You can hug it.
Is it too valuable?
You'll be the first human to ever actually hug a 24-inch Golden Hans. Now, he's getting in there.
I really got in there.
By the way,
that was nice. You want to hug it? You can be the second person.
I'll be the second person.
Be the second person. Here, we'll hug it.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so nice.
I can see why people like Squishmallows.
People don't just like Squishmallows, I mean they love them. And perhaps nobody is a bigger Squishmallow fanatic than influencer Carter Kinch. It's nice to meet you, Carter. I see that you've got some Squishmallows there in the background. This is the only Squishmallow that I have. When I visited the headquarters, they gave me the Pikachu, and he's very soft. It was the first time I've ever touched one. I never knew just how soft they are. I know. I'm so out of the loop.
I'm really sad you didn't get to experience it during quarantine, because that's when I really just decided to go all ham.
Yeah, better late than never, though, I always say. So, do you have a Pikachu?
No, I don't, and the fact that you just said it.
All right.
I've been trying to find it.
What would you trade me for this one?
Oh gosh. Well, it's gotta be good.
You have a woolly mammoth? I was trying to get my hands on a woolly mammoth, but...
Woolly mammoth. I do, actually. Let's see. I had an orange woolly mammoth. I know I have that one, but the brown one I think is buried. I think the brown one's right there.
Well, I won't ask you to mess up your collection. So, what initially got you into Squishmallows?
Yes. So back when I was in high school, I had a hard time with my pillow at night, funny enough. And so my sisters kind of showed me that they had these 2 new Squishmallows, and I didn't know what they were called at the time. And I just really enjoyed them. And I guess when I really started picking it up and buying more was when they came out with these 24-inch ones that were just ginormous. And I saw it and immediately could envision it on my bed, just nicely plump under my head. And so I started buying more when I realized I got my first one and it was super comfortable. And then I got another one and it was also very comfortable. And so on and so forth.
And then the snow rolled downhill.
Yeah.
Which one was the first in your collection? Because you said you got your first one. So what was the actual first one?
I did. So my first one's, it was a green dinosaur. And I got him in middle school. He was the first one I ever got. And I actually don't have him with me. He's in my home back with my parents. But his name was Danny. And I'm pretty sure, I want to say he's like very deflated now because of how old he is. I laid on him a lot. He was my only Squishmallow for about 4 years.
So you just had the one that you kind of hung out with, and then you really got into it a few years later.
Yeah, as soon as I found out they made bigger ones, that's when it was a real light switch for me.
How big has your collection grown? And you said you got some back at your parents' house. Do you keep most of them with you right now, or do you have like a whole storage unit full of them?
No, so I actually was able to vacuum seal all of my Squishmallows, or the majority of them, from my home in Georgia and then ship them here. So I do have a lot of them with me. There's some, I have like a net over there that I also have some like hanging from the ceiling. So this isn't all of them. And I also have a couple in Georgia from when I went home and found more and I bought them. So I have around 230 right now.
Is that like a guess, or have you do you have a spreadsheet with a document on it where you keep track of all of them?
So I'm in the middle of actually doing that. I went through, I reorganized, I counted roughly a couple days ago, and it was around 227. And then I went to the store and bought 3 more yesterday. So it's now 230.
Now, you said that you like them because they're so comfortable. So do you alternate them like at night? Do you alternate them, or is there one particular one that's like in bed with you all the time?
So you can actually see her, but right here, this is Emily. She was like my, I want to say she's my most desired Squishmallow because they don't make a lot that are just like one color. So when I saw that she was this all black bat, it just immediately attracted my eyes, and I knew that I needed her. And lucky enough, there was a Learning Express not too far away from my home in Georgia. And when I went, she was the very last one that they had. So I was able to snag her, and she's just been my go-to. I would say I do rotate, like occasionally I'll bring one over here that looks lonely, and I'll give it some comfort and some free time. But for the most part, I just love Emily. She's always just been like the rock I need under my head at night. Even though she's not a rock at all. It's like a fuzzy rock.
Would you say that Emily is your emotionally most valuable Squishmallow?
I would say she's definitely a forerunner. I don't know if I can pick which one is the most emotionally supportive, because they all are very emotionally supportive. I'll just see one and I'll be like, you mean so much to me.
It's a mood thing.
Exactly. Like I have this one right here, actually. Her name is Priscilla. And this is one of the ones that I got from Walgreens not too long ago. And when I saw her, I was like, where have you been my entire life? I'm obsessed with you. So it really does just alternate based off of which one I'm looking at the current moment.
Now, I saw in one of your videos that you have a golden Hans. And it made me curious, so what do you think is your most valuable, financially valuable Squishmallow?
Oh, financially valuable? It's gotta be golden Hans. I mean, I would say because it was a gift from the Squishmallow team. When I went to VidCon last year, they had this entire setup and they were just giving them out left and right. And then Serena, one of my friends there, came out with the golden Hans and gifted it to me, and my mouth dropped. I didn't even know they made a golden Hans, and so I've cherished it. I don't sleep with him, even though I want to, only because I'm scared it might ruin the value of I don't want my sweat glands.
I actually got to unbox a golden Hans while I was at the headquarters. They let me unbox one of the 100 millionth Squishmallow. It was pretty crazy. The box itself was so intricate. I loved it.
Oh wow, yeah, no, that's something I have yet to do myself, but I'm very jealous. I hope
You have roughly 230. They told me that at this point they've made over 2,000 of them. So which Squishmallows specifically are you still on the hunt for?
This is a sensitive subject because it's been going on since October now. But they came out with this very small amount of Bimby Squishmallows. Now, Bimby is a clown, and they didn't think clown Squishmallows would be very popular, but little did they know it would sell out instantly, and I drove 2.5 hours in total trying to find a Bimby at I think they were selling them at Winco. I've never heard of a Winco before, so I was totally going in just for this one Squishmallow, and I ended up not finding him, and now he's reselling for $500. It's insane.
Wow, that is insane. That's a lot. That's so much money for a plush toy. And you know what? Actually, I've been hugging this thing this whole interview, and I think that I should do this for all of my interviews. This feels really nice.
It's funny you mention that because I'm also still holding Priscilla.
I just realized it as I was talking. I think one of the ears hit me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm still hugging Pikachu right now."
It's just like the warm embrace that you get from Squishmallows. I've never been able to match that feeling.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, it feels really. It almost feels like it's so comfortable that it almost feels like we're doing this interview in person right now.
It's almost like a stress ball, but like in a pillow, cuddly.
Your whole body. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious. Now, is there a name that like Squishmallow like collectors call themselves? Like, this is a horrible example, but like, there's like bronies and stuff like that. So, is there like a name that you guys go by?
Yeah. So I actually like to call myself a hunter, like a squish hunter. That's kind of what I've coined the name because nobody's ever really like talked about what we should call ourselves. We're just like this tight-knit community. And I think we're too focused on Squishmallows that we're not really looking at like branding, what we should call our obsessions and collections. But I like the name hunting just because, if I see a Walgreens or a CVS on my way home from wherever I am, I will stop, just peek in and see what they have. I think that like fits the squish hunting name,
Yeah. I mean, it's to the point, right? Squish Hunter, you know immediately what it is. So, yeah, I like that. Now, is there a branded Squishmallow character that you haven't seen yet that you'd love to see?
Yes, I have two different ones that I would love to see. The first one is a Jigglypuff Squishmallow, which I'm fingers crossed. I really don't know, but I know they're coming out with Pokemon, so who knows? And then a more of a reach, I would love to see some Harry Potter Squishmallows. I think that would really be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It's some of the Fantastic Beasts even would be perfect for Squishmallows.
Oh my gosh, the creatures, I mean, they already have the cute faces. They just need to be put on one of these, and she's gonna sell. I'll make sure of that. I'm gonna go and buy them all.
And there's no shortage of smiles when you guys have over 2,000 original characters that you've released at this point.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is insane. When I heard that number, I was like, that's a lot of characters. But you're not even just only doing original characters. Like, you also are doing licensed characters. Like, you guys you have Pokemon now.
Oh, yeah.
How does that process come about with getting the other licensed brands?
Yeah, listen, it's something that you have to curate. Does the license make sense for Squishmallows? Is there going to be an interest in seeing that sort of dual participation against the Squishmallows platform? Do the characters look good as Squishmallows? These are all things that we have to think about and weigh. But as it turns out, we've tended to focus on some of the biggest brands in the world. So you've seen Star Wars, you've seen now Pokemon, and there's been some other very large brands in the licensing community. But we've also done some that are a little bit, just they tend to fit the profile. It's just fun. It's just something that'll bring a smile to someone's face. But we tend to be primarily organic characters that represent, animals or food or whatever it may be. Versus licensing. Something comforting. Although I will say that licensing is something that we will continue to represent some of the coolest and most interesting and fun and good-hearted and good-natured brands in the world.
I'm not going to ask you to answer this right now, but I'm curious as to what licensed brands didn't look good as a Squishmallow that you were like, nah.
Oh my! Breaking Bad. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I would have loved a Walter White Squishmallow.
Now that I say it, I kind of wish I had one of those too.
Well, I don't know if you are aware of this, but we've actually won 7 Toy of the Year awards over the last 2 years. The Toadies are like our Oscars in our industry, and most recently we won License of the Year for Squishmallows. So you can believe that we are going to be everywhere our Squishmallows fans want us to be. Not only in Monopoly games and in fashion, accessories, jewelry, but pool floats, backpacks. There's so much planned in the year ahead. And of course, there's that metaverse. And I'm not sure if you've heard, but Squishmallows on Roblox is the #1 toy property experience on Roblox with over 3 million monthly active users.
That's insane.
We decorate it for Halloween. You can see all the cool costumes we're making.
Oh, that sounds exciting. Well, can you give us a little hint or tease on some upcoming characters that you might have in the pipeline?
Well, this would be exclusive, but I have a gorgeous 14-inch queen bee here. This is a part of our Adopt Me Squishmallows collab, and it's coming to retail next month. You are the first to see it. Give her a hug.
This
our
and
queenie.
Cam, it's so soft.
An example of an event-oriented Squishmallow is this Delilah that we did at San Diego Comic-Con 2022. And we did a Squishmallows every day of the show. So it would allow consumers who are collectors that really love Squishmallow the opportunity to go and collect their favorite one. And so these were limited edition, I think between 250 and 500, depending on the day. And yeah, they're really terrific.
Is there any way for a fan to get a hold of one of those if they didn't go to Comic-Con in 2022?
So in 2022, no. The way that you got it was at Comic-Con specifically, but going forward, we are figuring out better ways so that there's also other ways to collect. So offering it at Comic-Con, also maybe the opportunity to do something via our e-commerce site. But it gets a little bit complicated because often if you participate in a show, the show, in order for you to call something an exclusive to that show, you have to commit that it truly is an exclusive to the show. So when we do make those types of commitments, we tend to stick by them. And we know that there's upside and downside to it, but we prefer to just take take that risk and say, like, we want to offer something fun for the people that are here today.
Now, how do you stay up to date on the latest trends and sort of incorporate those into your designs for the Squishmallows?
So obviously we use a lot of social media, and we reference the internet. We get a lot of ideas coming from fans and from other people that work here. We look internationally too, so what is trending in, say, Japan. Some other things maybe is like what movies are coming out next summer. That might give us some insight. So if there's a big dinosaur movie coming out next summer, maybe that's a good idea. Finally, there's like color trends. So maybe we get some insight into colors that are trending. So maybe if it's like 80s or 90s neon colors, we can get some insight into. We should do some neon colors or something. So there's a lot of that type of thing too.
Now, does it get hard after 2000 to come up with new names or new personalities?
I'm telling you, the world is our inspiration. Our fans are our inspiration, and we are constantly looking at trends, pop culture, and just hot topics to really just create and figure out where we're gonna go next. So it's very, very exciting and fun.
You mentioned that you got feedback from fans, and is there an instance that you can think of in your head where you got some good feedback? Like, is there a specific instance where there was like, oh, that's a great idea, like I'd like to incorporate that?
Yeah, so we got, there was one particular suggestion that kept coming up, and it was to do a possum. And so that was definitely driven by fans of like, they wanted us to do an opossum, and so there was a lot of debate of whether or not it was a good idea, and yeah, we finally did it.
Now, is the possum, is he asleep or is he awake?
Yeah, he's awake, but he's one of my favorites for sure. Turned out amazing.
You talk about researching the animals. What animal do you feel like you've researched that was like the most difficult for you to kind of bring into like the Squishmallows form?
There are a lot of designs that were challenging because they have to be in an egg shape. One really challenging one was Sheltie for me. The dog has fur, so they look really cute, but I have to make it into an egg shape, and the look has to be stylized to look like their breed.
Yeah.
And they have a pattern on their face and then the belly, but it was pretty challenging to make that pattern.
I can imagine how hard it is to take an animal and not only turn it into a Squishmallow, but also it has to instantly be recognizable as that animal, right? So
right.
I was hoping you were going to say the cobra. I would think the more dangerous animals are harder to make cute.
Oh, you're right.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
That was challenging too.
But you did it.
But
you nailed it.
I
don't know if you can see it on the camera, but he's got his cute little snake tongue sticking out. It's adorable.
Yeah, it was fun when I was designing it.
How many characters do you think don't make the cut, and how far along in the process do they get before you decide this isn't going to work for whatever reason?
I mean, we're drawing all day, so we do for each season we might do 200 or 300 drawings, and so I'd say maybe half of them don't ever see the light of day. So, but it really comes down to what other teams also think will work for the market also. So just because we draw it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be produced. There's a lot that goes into deciding who's making the cut. Also, we bring back old characters, so we got over 1,000 characters. So sometimes it's not just about drawing new characters, it's about, let's bring back this older character, put a new color on him,
Okay.
and release him again.
And sort of have a variation of that
Variation,
character.
exactly.
I got you. Have you ever had any characters that like go all the way through the process and you get him like in your hands and then you're like, this is not going to work? Does that happen?
It happens once in a while, yeah. There's some decisions that are made like, no, I don't know that this really fits our brand, fits our, is really working as well as maybe some of the others. So it's less about which ones aren't working, it's more about maybe some are maybe a little bit favored a little bit more for one reason or another.
Now, do you personally have a favorite Squishmallow?
Yeah, so for me, like I really like a lot of the food here, but one of my favorite new ones is that parakeet. I thought that one turned out really good. And the banana's another one. There's a banana over there.
The dragon drinking boba tea. We talked about that one earlier.
Yeah,
That one's a great
absolutely.
one.
I really like Blue Jay.
Personally speaking, what's your absolute favorite Squishmallow? Do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I have a favorite
Yeah.
Squishmallow. It's a chocolate dipped strawberry.
Why?
I don't know. I've been on a diet. It hasn't been working. And I see this chocolate dipped strawberry and it's got eyes and it's smiling and it's so inviting. And it reminds me how much I love chocolate dipped strawberries. Frankly speaking, I could use a few less of those right now, but
I think you look great. I think we can go
come
out
on.
after this. Let's go have some chocolate.
Let's go eat
strawberries.
some. Let's go have one. And while we're holding our chocolate dipped strawberry Squishmallow.
Now, have you had any Squishmallows named after you?
There is one coming out that's named after me. So yeah,
What
that's
is
coming
it? Is
out.
it food or is it an animal?
It's not food or an animal.
What is it?
Yeah.
Can I?
it's-
You can't tell me.
I can't tell you.
All right.
But it's something that, it's going to be a fun one.
gonna
So they told me they wanted to name it after me because it was an icon. I was always talking about this, and so that one will hopefully have my name and a little bio about drawing and that kind of thing.
Going to be a little spirit animal, spirit Squishmallow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing.
So some of the designers do have some animals named after them.
Yeah.
Like Sunny, our designer, she has a bee named after her. So Sunny the bee is one for Sunny.
Tell me a little bit about Sunny the Bee.
It's a yellow bee.
Yeah.
The cutest one.
Now, did you design Sunny?
Yes, it was decided by someone else, but I was very happy that this bee is named after me.
So it's your spirit Squishmallow.
Yes.
Have you had any Squishmallows named after you?
I have not had a Squishmallows named after me, but I will tell you this Betsy is a huge Squishmallows fan, and nothing made me prouder than last June when we arrived in Anaheim for VidCon. We had a vision of creating smiles, joy, and fun for every single person who came through that Anaheim Convention Center. So we had Squishmallows fans line up for the chance to get harnessed and soar over a ginormous pit of Squishmallows. And that was definitely one of the proudest moments of my career, to be able to bring that type of smile and joy to thousands of teens and college-age kids in Anaheim.
Now, that was your idea, right? You came up with that idea?
Yes, it was the Squish Squad's idea, and it was based on just looking at all of the social media content that they create. Like, we are very much in a position where we can allow them to celebrate their love for this brand and use that to inform what we want to do next. And we just wanted to create a special brand experience that would literally just bring smiles, joy, and Squishmallows to every single person at VidCon.
Now, did you get in the harness?
I did. I did.
How many Squishmallows did you get?
On the last day, I think I got 5, and I'll tell you, someone, Akbar, actually, who's a co-host on The Talk, collected like 11, and he was the record holder at VidCon, but it was really exciting to just see all of those fans get dunked into that pit of Squishmallows, and a lot of them were looking for hard to find limited edition. Jack the cat was a huge favorite, and they waited for over 4 hours to be in this line. It was a really special experience, and I'll tell you, when we were looking at social and we saw our millions of fans all around the world responding to this amazing moment, a lot of them said, I wish I could have been there. Oh my goodness, I'm so bummed I missed it. And so we said, you know what, that's what we've got to do next. And we decided to surprise them where they are. And we made a Squishmallows truck and we went on tour. We did a Southeast tour last Last fall, we got to go to Atlanta, Raleigh, North Carolina, Miami, and guess what? It was the same thing. We had fans lining up at 6 in the morning to, congregate with their fellow Squishmallows lovers and be in line to dance with Cam. Have you seen our costume character, Cam? He's a huge hit. And also just kind of talk about their love and passion for this amazing brand and, win prizes and share on social. But it was really nice to be able to just surprise them with a unique experience in their backyard.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I'm actually kind of competitive, so I think I could get 12, but it depends on the size, because you guys have a lot of sizes, right? Like 12 of these would be no problem. But what size? You said you got 5.
The jumbos.
How big did you get? Like how big were the ones that you were grabbing?
We had like 24-inch jumbos in this squish pit, and that's why when Akbar had like 11, it was like, wow,
so
very
you were using all
impressive.
4 limbs.
Oh yeah, everything. You just kind of squeeze them all in. Your elbows are grabbing them, but it's so much fun. And from those 2-inch mini mallows to the 24-inch jumbos, there really is like a size for everyone.
Has there been any talk of a Squishmallows movie or an animated feature or anything like that?
Funny you should ask, because I'm not sure if you're aware, we're actually in the shadows of Hollywood. So as you can imagine, we are definitely exploring new ways to share that Squishmallows story and bring these beloved characters to life. However, I'm not quite at liberty to share anything at the moment, but Comicbook.com, you'll be the first to know.
Is this enough of me losing? Did we got enough?